Welcome to the NBA Prop Pick Show, powered by EV Analytics. I'm John Metler. He's Adam Scherher, back with the Baltimore Orioles hat today. Yesterday, 2-0 in the Western Conference Finals, Game 1. Chet Holmgren over 1.5 assists. Jaden McDaniels over 1.5 assists. Both guys actually had 3 dimes, which would have been pretty big plus money. I think around probably plus 275, plus 300 in that range, just based on what they were for 1.5 there. So both guys get 3 dimes. We go 2-0, so that's a good start to the conference finals. Today, Game 1, Eastern Conference Finals, Indiana Pacers against the New York Knicks. Knicks about a 4.5-point favorite. Adam, do you have any expectations for this series? Is there someone, do you lean either way, or any matchups you like here?
I mean, I lean toward the Knicks. I think that they're a little bit better. I do think the Pacers are in general underrated, but I think it should be a fun series. I'm not as excited for this one as I was or am for OKC Minnesota, just because it's lacking the star power. But then at the same time, I think you can kind of make the point that kind of makes it fun too, because you have obviously Halliburton and Brunson and Cat, they're big names, but you don't have Edwards, you don't have SGA, but you kind of just have these two just fun teams, the Knicks in particular.
When Anthony Edwards went with the ankle injury and then he was in the locker room for 10, 15 minutes, when that happened, I was like, come on. I feel like so many NBA series get ruined by injuries to a superstar. And it's this is such a good matchup. And then he came back out, and then he caught one back on a Ludor. Ludor just fouled him. He didn't want to get put on a poster. So once that happened, I was like, okay, Anthony Edwards is fine. We're good. So nervous about injuries, because last year in this series, when OG Anunoby had the hamstring, Josh Hart was just playing 48 minutes because they had to. And then I think Jalen Brunson left the game with an ankle injury, and he came back. I don't think he was completely healthy either. So injuries kind of ruined this series we saw last year a little bit too with the Pacers and the Knicks. Did you want to add something there?
Oh, I'll just say, I don't want to jinx it with Edwards, but that dude is made of rubber. He does not get hurt. He's had so many times where it's it looks like a bad ankle injury or lower body injury, and he just goes to the sideline, maybe goes to the locker room, and then just comes bouncing back out.
Yeah, he his ankle full on turned, and you get those Twitter doctors, right? And they're like, "Oh, sprained ankle, maybe have to miss 1 or 2 games, or just tape it up. Maybe he won't be moving well." Then he comes back and he's just running out of the tunnel. Just no injury at all. And you're like, okay, let's go. Here we go.
There was a regular season game. I don't remember if he landed on somebody's ankle or if he just twisted his own or what, but it looked really bad. He limps to the table, leaves the game. And I think I had him in a bunch of lineups or something. So I'm like, oh man, I'm cooked. And 5 minutes later, it's just it didn't happen.
Yeah. Julius Randle went crazy yesterday in the first half. That guy's I don't know what's going on in the playoffs here. I guess he's a free agent, right? Coming up. That usually is a little motivating for players. The one thing I'm excited about for this series, Knicks Pacers, is I feel like last year, the Pacers ended up winning that series, but they kind of had an issue with Tyrese Halliburton, who's going to slow him down. You can put Anunoby on him, but Anunoby's more of a bigger wing defender. He'd be almost better on Siakam, I think. And then it was kind of it's not Brunson. Is it Josh Hart? Is it DiVincenzo? I think Mikal Bridges makes a huge difference for the Knicks in this series, because now you have someone who can guard Tyrese Halliburton, and we can put Anunoby on Siakam, and we can kind of start to line up better. So that's kind of the thing that I'm excited for. I'm looking at. We'll get going into the picks here, though. We're going to FanDuel. We got 2 bets. We're going to FanDuel for both bets here. And if you liked the over 1.5 assists yesterday, you're going to love this one, because we are going Karl Anthony Towns. 2+ assists, -1, so -113 there, -113 there, so it was -114. I think -114 might be over 1.5. 2+ is -113, so you can grab the 2+ there. Once again, that's Karl Anthony Towns over 1.5 assists, -113. Adam, you want to break this one down?
Yeah, so I think this one's interesting, because if you look at what Cat has done overall in the postseason this year, his potential assists per game are down by 2 compared to the regular season. Regular season, he averaged, it was around 4.5, 4.8, somewhere in there. Through 12 games in the postseason, he's only averaged 2.8 potential assists per game, 1.1 assists per game. But if you go back and just look over his last 5 postseason games, which, obviously come in that last series, he only averaged 1.8 potential assists per game in those games. And so it tells you that his potential assists were down last series. Obviously, that can just be an impact of that matchup more so than anything the Knicks are like actively trying to do. I think it's likely that you see his assist opportunities rebound in this spot, maybe not get all the way back to where they were in the regular season, but at least get closer, and that you're getting a little bit of a reduced price, reduced line coming off of that most recent series.
It feels like another one we're talking about yesterday with Chet Holmgren, where it's like the flip of the series like really helps because it's like he keeps going under, and then it's like the price comes down. He's usually like, I think regular season he's like 2.5 minus 120-ish, and then like maybe like a 3.5 like plus 140. That's kind of where he like hovers, but he goes under a bunch. Now it's down to 1.5 minus 113. But like you said, you flip the series, so it's not even the same matchups here, and his potential assists were down. I went back and actually watched his assists from the Pacers game in the regular season. Wasn't many because he's not a high assist player. But what definitely stood out to me was that a lot of them were like rip and run rebounds, and he was getting out in transition and like firing it up to like a Josh Hart, and he's laying it in full court. And you're like, that actually is like that. I feel like that's going to continue. Like that's not random. That's how the Pacers play. They play with pace. There is going to be fast break opportunities. You are going to run more and stuff with these two offenses, and like how the Pacers like to play the game. So it was more like that, not even half court, it was more open court, and he's just hitting guys, the pitch ahead pass, and then they're laying it in. So I was like, 1.5 looks very enticing.
Yeah.
And kind of the matchups play. You want to add on to that?
Yeah, I just went back and looked while you were talking and actually broke it down series by series in the postseason. In that first series against Detroit, he averaged 3.3 potential assists per game, so still down from the regular season, but 3.3 potential assists, 1.7 actual assists. And then you get this Boston series where he averaged half of an assist per game. He averaged 2.2 potential assists. So I think you're just, obviously we don't know exactly how a series against Indiana is going to play out, but I think you can take advantage of just this bounce back where it's very likely that he's more involved as a playmaker in this new series than he was in the Boston series, because it would be a lot more in line with what he's done all season long and what he did in round one of the playoffs.
I want to say regular season against the Pacers, he was over 4 potential assists per game too. So that would be even higher than I want to say that was the number. That was funny because I was also watching someone else's buckets, and then you don't get to see potential assists when you go back and watch the film because you basically only filter by assists. And someone like smoked the layup that he like passed. I was like, well, that kind of gets missed there because that should have been an easy assist. Pete Shepard saying in the chat here, John, tell Adam his bets hit when he isn't wearing the Orioles hat. That kind of sounds like the Orioles season too.
Yeah, nothing involved with the Orioles wins. So
yeah, so Orioles not necessarily bringing the luck. Bobby Newport saying minus 125 MGM, minus 130 DK. I feel like this cat price, even if it like whiffs today, it's like next game you almost have to play it again. He's gonna play 35 to like 38 minutes. Like the minutes are gonna be there. He's not gonna get faded. Roll secure. It's like 1.5. So
the only way that I would think like if he doesn't get it today, this is like the perfect example of I think when you should be looking at potential assists, even though it's not the end all be all of anything. Like if he doesn't get there today, and so the line stays similar next game, you go back and look, and if he was still at 2 potential assists, then it's like, okay, maybe we're just going to continue more of what we were seeing in the Boston series, and we shouldn't bet this. But if he's back to that 3.5, 4 whatever potential assists, then it's like, okay, well, he ran bad, but we at least saw that rebound in opportunities.
Yeah, that's what you check in. It's like 1 assist, 4 potential, 0 assists, 3 potential. You're like, okay, we're gonna play this again. So first bet, Karl-Anthony Towns over 1.5 assists, minus 113. Second bet, we're staying at FanDuel here, and we're going Andrew Nembhard under 11.5 points plus 10 plus even money now. So it was plus 104, even money now. So it's Andrew Nembhard under 11.5 points, even money. Adam, you want to break this one down?
Yeah, I think this is just a spot where you're hoping Nembhard goes back to shooting like anywhere close to what he normally does. So we have him projected for 33 minutes. That's just about what he's averaged so far in the postseason. He's at 32.8 minutes per game. But so far this postseason, we have him projected for about 11 points. So far this postseason, he's averaged 14.5 points per game. So, obviously you look at the line, you look at what he's done in the postseason, and it's just like, oh, well, I don't really like this. He shot 50% from 3 on 4.4 attempts per game so far this postseason. He has a 62.9% true shooting percentage so far this postseason. In the regular season, Andrew Nembhard shot 29% from 3. His true shooting percentage was like 54%. Obviously, you can make the case that maybe he's getting, more open looks in the postseason as teams care more about like actively slowing down Halliburton, Siakam, etc. But I have a hard time thinking that you're just turning Andrew Nembhard into anywhere close to a 50% 3-point shooter going forward. So I think it's a spot where you can just kind of take advantage of, he's shot well through the first 10 games of the postseason, and the line has kind of adjusted, and he's probably not that guy.
Yeah, everyone jokes about Jokic, where it's like shot clock running down and he just heaves it and like someone makes threes. Andrew Nembhard has some, like even the first couple series here. And I remember even last year, he has some moments where you're like shot clock winding down, he takes a step back and you're like, cash. And you're like, whoa, like that's not necessarily who he is, but he hits the big shots in the playoffs. He always seems to step up. When you talk about his minutes, there would be some level of concern because he's going to be the primary defender on Jalen Brunson. I would assume it's probably going to switch between him and Aaron Nesmith, probably more Nembhard would be my guess. I'd be concerned about the foul trouble. Brunson is someone who's really good at drawing fouls, similar to SGA. Everyone loves to complain about SGA drawing fouls, but Brunson is very similar in that fashion. So that would concern me to the minute standpoint. And then also we're talking like that ricochet of, Mikal Bridges in the matchups. If Mikal Bridges is now on Tyrese Halliburton, Josh Hart would probably be on Nembhard. So that's not necessarily the best matchup that he, like last year, he would have been maybe matched up maybe with Brunson on the other end. And that's someone you kind of want to go at. So I feel like he'll probably have a tougher defender too. So Andrew Nembhard.
Yeah. I do think the foul trouble is kind of baked into the projection at 33 minutes. Because like if he avoids foul trouble, he's probably playing 36, 37. Like if he's not in foul trouble at all. So like, because you can make that counterpoint too, where if he's the primary defender on Brunson, then ideally they probably try and match Brunson's minutes. But I think that you've kind of seen that through the playoffs. Like he has games where he plays 37, plays 36. He has games where he plays 30. So I think it is pretty likely that he doesn't actually play 33 minutes. He plays like 36 or he plays 30. But to your point, like, it doesn't matter if he goes way, we've talked about it before. It doesn't matter if he plays 38 minutes and he scores 20 points and this isn't even a sweat. If on average you're going to get enough of those 30-minute games because of foul trouble, then it's still going to look good.
Yeah, I remember last year in the series, like Nembhard's like analytically the better defender, but I feel like Brunson had some big games against him, and then they made that switch to Nesmith. I think the length of Nesmith bothered Brunson a little bit more. So I don't really, and then when I watched the regular season film, they kind of did both. It's almost like they mix and match. So in terms of his minutes getting up to like that 38, I don't think they would just make him guard Brunson for 38 minutes. I think that'd be exhausting for anyone. So I feel like it might probably be like Nesmith. I think they're going to split time is kind of what I'm saying. So
yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I think they were just talking about that last night too in the Western Conference Finals. They're like SGA, the Wolves think Anthony Edwards is the best defender for SGA, but they're like he can't guard SGA for 40 minutes. Like he's a scorer, right? Let alone just the task of like guarding SGA for 40 minutes. So they're gonna have to pick their spots where he guards himself. You can't just have him like that's gonna be so tiring. So Bobby asking, or
I feel like Edwards is probably like on the sideline though, yelling that he wants him for 40 minutes.
Yeah, probably. Under 12.5 minus 115, 365. That would be pretty similar to 11.5 even money. I'm assuming like the 11.5 just a little bit better there, but that would be pretty close in EV. I would guess. I'm on the over for Nembhard points rebounds. That's funny.
Hopefully he gets a lot of rebounds.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Hopefully he gets 14. What is it? Yeah. I don't know what numbers you didn't put there. Hopefully he gets a ton of rebounds, not a lot of points. The two best today, we're going Karl-Anthony Towns over 1.5 assists, minus 113 at FanDuel, and Andrew Nembhard under 11.5 points, even money at FanDuel. This concludes the NBA Prop Pick Show, powered by EV Analytics. We will be back tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Game 2, Western Conference Finals, Thunder, Wolves. Maybe we'll talk a little SGA foul baiting. Who knows? It's the hot topic right now. Good luck with your bets. Del, play the song.